Welcome to this week's tip of the week. We're going to go over the technique sword and hammer, not so much with emphasis on the technique, but the action of the hip and throwing your sword hand, your strike from point of origin and not chambering or phonetically moving through it, and how that relates to and why with another technique that's a two-man called Falcons of Force, where you've got a grab on both sides. So, going over the technique and usually how we teach it phonetically, and then I'll contrast that difference with the hip action. Mr. Mooney will assist me. Okay, so we got a shoulder grab from the side, and normally we go through sword and hammer as we drop off and checking and throw the hand sword. Our hands cock and throw out for that sword hand. Okay, and back up, hammer, fist, strike. What I want to talk about is you're in a relaxed position here. Instead of chambering, as the hip action moves and your arm throws from point of origin, and by doing that, it's contouring and coming from an obscure zone that your opponent can't see, and it makes it a lot more difficult for them to block it or get out of the way of it, and it happens right away. So the hip rotation moves, the foot steps, and as I move and throw that strike, it's contouring and hitting. Okay, now if I step off and I chamber, it leaves him the option. He can bring his arm up. It's easier for him to see that because it's going to come more in his line of sight. So, advancing the technique, hip, point of origin, everything should be thrown from point of origin. It's a little bit faster and not seeing. So, off from point of origin. Now, looking at the technique, let me contrast that to this action with Falcons of Force. Now, Falcons of Force, we got to grab on the other side, so we got two people grabbing you. Okay, so this technique, as a touch and go, looking at it as a step, hit, touch and go to the other side. You step, hit, move, and we're off into the other side on the other opponent. So, once again, hip action, everything is in the hip. Hip rotation, short, tight, quick. Throwing from point of origin, which is where your hand originates to begin with. Okay, not cocking. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mooney. And that's your tip of the week.